The rain hammered against the windows of our small apartment in Seattle, mimicking the storm brewing inside me. Alistair, a 43-year-old IT specialist, had always prided myself on being a rational man, a problem solver. But the knot in my stomach, the constant gnawing suspicion, was something I couldn't debug with logic. It started subtly, almost imperceptibly. My wife Bronte, a vibrant and passionate artist, had begun spending more time at her studio, claiming a sudden surge in commissions. Late nights became the norm, her explanations vague and hurried. "Just trying to catch up, darling," she'd say, her eyes flitting away from mine. I wanted to believe her. I desperately wanted to cling to the image of the woman I'd loved for 15 years, the woman who'd filled our lives with laughter and color. But the whispers of doubt grew louder with each passing day. Her phone, once an open book, was now guarded with the ferocity of a dragon protecting its hoard. Passwords I didn't recognize, notifications silenced, the screen always facing down. The change was unsettling, a stark contrast to the open and trusting relationship we'd always shared. One evening, Bronte claimed she had a gallery opening to attend. "It's really important, Alistair," she said, her voice a little too high-pitched. "A potential buyer is flying in from New York." I offered to go with her, eager to support her work and spend some quality time together. But she brushed me off, saying it was a business thing, and she needed to network. As she walked out the door, dressed in a stunning red dress that I hadn't seen before, I felt a pang of unease so sharp it almost knocked me off my feet. I tried to shake it off, telling myself I was being paranoid, insecure. But the feeling persisted, a cold, hard stone in my gut. I decided to do something I never thought I was capable of. I followed her. I know, it sounds like something out of a bad movie, but I couldn't ignore the nagging feeling that something was terribly wrong. I kept a safe distance, watching as she drove to a part of town I didn't recognize, an area filled with trendy bars and upscale restaurants. She parked outside a dimly lit Italian restaurant called Bella Luna. I waited across the street, my heart pounding in my chest, and watched as she got out of the car. She wasn't alone. A man was waiting for her, leaning against the entrance of the restaurant. He was tall, handsome, with a confident swagger about him. As they embraced, a wave of nausea washed over me. It wasn't a friendly hug, it was intimate, passionate. I felt like I'd been punched in the stomach, my world tilted on its axis. I watched them enter the restaurant, my mind reeling. I couldn't breathe. I couldn't think. I just stood there, frozen in disbelief, as the reality of the situation crashed down on me. My wife, the woman I loved and trusted, was cheating on me. I spent the next few hours in a daze, wandering the streets of Seattle, the rain washing over me, mirroring the tears streaming down my face. I couldn't go home. I couldn't face her. The thought of confronting her, of hearing her lies, was unbearable. I ended up at a dingy bar near the waterfront, nursing a whiskey and trying to make sense of what had happened. How could she do this to me? What had I done to deserve this? I replayed our relationship in my mind, searching for clues, for signs that I had missed. But all I could see were happy memories, shared dreams, a love that I thought was unbreakable. As the night wore on, my grief turned to anger. A burning rage began to simmer inside me, fueled by betrayal and heartbreak. I couldn't let her get away with this. I couldn't let her destroy our lives without consequences. I decided to hire a private investigator. I needed proof, concrete evidence that I could use in a divorce. I needed to know the truth, no matter how painful it might be. The investigator, a seasoned professional named Mallory, was efficient and discreet. Within a week, she had compiled a comprehensive report, complete with photos and videos documenting Bronte's affair. The man she was seeing was named Kian, a sculptor who taught at the same art school where Bronte rented her studio. The report detailed their secret rendezvous, their intimate dinners, their passionate embraces. It was all there in black and white, a damning indictment of Bronte's infidelity. Reading the report was like being stabbed repeatedly in the heart. Each detail, each photo was a fresh wound, reopening the pain and fueling my anger. I confronted Bronte the following day. I laid the report on the table in front of her, the photos of her and Kian staring back at her. She paled, her eyes widening in shock and disbelief. "What is this?" she stammered, her voice trembling. "Don't play dumb, Bronte," I said, my voice cold and hard. I know about Kian, I know about everything. She burst into tears, begging for forgiveness, claiming it was a mistake, a moment of weakness. But I didn't believe her. The evidence was overwhelming, the betrayal too deep. I'm done, Bronte, I said, my voice devoid of emotion. I want a divorce. She tried to argue, to plead, to manipulate me into staying, but I was resolute. The woman I loved was gone, replaced by a liar and a cheat. I couldn't spend another day with her. The divorce was messy and acrimonious. Bronte fought me every step of the way, trying to take as much as she could. She claimed I was being unreasonable, that I was overreacting to a minor indiscretion. But I refused to back down. I had the evidence, the law was on my side, and I was determined to protect myself and my future. As the divorce proceedings dragged on, I learned more about Bronte's affair. It had been going on for months, maybe even longer. She had been living a double life, deceiving me at every turn. The betrayal cut deeper than I could have ever imagined. I felt like a fool, a naive idiot who had been blind to the truth. But amidst the pain and anger, I also felt a sense of liberation. I was finally free from her lies, free from her deceit. I could start over, rebuild my life, and find someone who truly deserved my love and trust. The divorce was finalized 6 months later. I walked away with what was rightfully mine, leaving Bronte to face the consequences of her actions. I heard through mutual friends that her relationship with Kian had quickly soured. He was a jealous and controlling man, and she had grown tired of his demands. She had lost her husband, her home, and her reputation. Karma, it seemed, had finally caught up with her. I moved out of our apartment and bought a small house on the outskirts of Seattle, surrounded by trees and nature. I needed space to heal, to reconnect with myself, and to find peace. I threw myself into my work, finding solace in the logic and order of the digital world. I also started painting again, something I had neglected during my marriage. It was therapeutic, a way to express my emotions and to rediscover my creativity. One day, while browsing an online art forum, I came across a painting that caught my eye. It was a portrait of a woman, her eyes filled with sadness and regret. The artist's name was Elara. I was drawn to her work, to the raw emotion and vulnerability that she conveyed through her art. I reached out to her, complimenting her on her talent and inviting her to collaborate on a project. To my surprise, she agreed. We started working together remotely, sharing ideas and inspiration. As we collaborated, we also started talking about our lives, our dreams, and our heartaches. I learned that Elara had also been through a difficult divorce, a victim of infidelity and betrayal. We found solace in each other's stories, a shared understanding of the pain and loss that we had both experienced. Over time, our friendship blossomed into something more. We fell in love, slowly and cautiously, both of us wary of repeating past mistakes. But our connection was undeniable, a deep and profound understanding that transcended words. A year after my divorce was finalized, I married Elara. It was a small and intimate ceremony, surrounded by our closest friends and family. As I looked into her eyes, I knew that I had finally found true love, a love that was built on honesty, trust, and mutual respect. Bronte's betrayal had been a painful and devastating experience, but it had also been a catalyst for change, a turning point in my life that had led me to Elara. I had learned a valuable lesson about the importance of self-respect, the need to prioritize my own happiness, and the power of forgiveness. I had forgiven Bronte, not for her sake, but for my own. I had released the anger and resentment that had consumed me for so long, allowing myself to move on and embrace a brighter future. Life is full of unexpected twists and turns. Sometimes, the greatest betrayals can lead to the greatest blessings. And sometimes, the most painful experiences can pave the way for the most beautiful beginnings. As the sun sets over the Puget Sound, casting a golden glow on our new home, I hold Elara close, grateful for the love and happiness that we share. I am Alistair, and this is my story of betrayal, forgiveness, and ultimately redemption.